How's it feel?
Good. It was awesome to be out there with my team. I forgot how much fun it is to have these, really awesome competitive environment without all of the pressure and the stress of kind of those world championships and those Olympics. Sometimes those wins and losses end up being so important, and for something like this with a friendly competition to support a great cause like Beat the Streets, it was an awesome opportunity to come back and feel good. My shoulder feels awesome, my knee feels great, and got to be in front of my family and a lot of athletes that are involved with this organization, Beat the Streets, and I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, and before we talk about your particular journey, just being a part of this event, having the women's showcase like this, how important is it? How cool is it for you to see women's wrestling get a platform like this?
To have this type of platform, I've always been a little jealous that the men's program have had their World Cups out here in LA, and I've been able to be a part of that amazing experience. And we have our World Cups in other countries pretty often, and so to have this highlighted on U.S. soil, I remember how special it was to win a world title on U.S. soil in Las Vegas, and just to be back on U.S. soil and have a cheap flight for my parents to come out and watch me wrestle. They don't get that opportunity to do it often, so it was amazing to be in front of a hometown crowd and have that excitement behind women in sport.
It's been, about a year since we've seen you. What's the past year been like? I'm sure, not the easiest year for you.
It's been great. I've had so much fun. It was actually really hard to come back to wrestling because I had such a blast. I've been working so hard at this sport, I kind of forgot how much work I put in on a daily basis, and so to step back and just let my body heal and give it the time it needed was much needed. I think mentally it was needed, physically it was needed, and to come back swinging and have a good performance was exactly what I wanted.
Did it give you a different perspective on the sport?
I definitely think it opened my eyes to a lot of things that we need to strive for a little bit harder, and just make sure that there's more events like this that get more exposure. And I've been working with the Women's Sport Foundation talking about women in all aspects of the sport, not just on the mat, not just administration, but also coaching and things like that. And I ended up taking a coaching job this year with Wyoming Seminary, and I'm excited about that opportunity, and excited. I just started my master's, and I graduated college last year, and I got married, and my shoe came out, so Asics now came out, so these are limited edition. There's only a couple pairs left of them.
Pretty
so
snazzy.
They are, and I've actually had them a little longer, so I got them nice and dirty and worn in. So excited that I got to be on the Beat the Streets wrestling mat today, and hope people go out and buy my shoe and support women in sports.
How have you grown over the past year then? You have all these experiences, you're married now, you're taking a new job, new life changes. How have you seen yourself personally grow, and how do you tie that back into coming out and getting back at it?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of growth that happens in kind of those reflection years when you're kind of stuck on the couch and don't have as many responsibilities. There was a lot of different aspects of my life that got very busy leading up to the last few years. It was kind of a whole global shift of women's wrestling really being in people's faces, and I was on kind of the front of that movement and excited about talking about it and challenging people on their perspectives of women having the right to step on the mat and wrestle. And so it was a lot of just kind of soaking in some of the things I've been saying and doing for a long time, and actually seeing that those are important and those are things I truly believe. And so a lot of that growth has just happened over time and through talking with people and seeing the reach that's truly been made. And I think events like this, when you get to see hundreds of people in the crowd being excited about women competing against women and on a grand stage outside, this is a really cool event.
I'd ask if you were nervous at all, but you were going for upper body throws right off the bat. What was going through your head? You're stepping on the mat, you've taken some time off, and you're going upstairs, going for the big throws.
Yeah, I don't know if I think for an event like this, we didn't have very many throws, and I was hoping to get one. I was so bummed when I had it locked up, and she had hooked my leg. She just did a good job with the defense, and so I got to give kudos to the competitive athletes that went out and gave us a good show today.
USA won. This is a great year for USA Wrestling. The Junior World.
Second, it was awesome. We have a Junior World champ. It's been a lot.
But the women, you got to be thinking, we got to beat Japan.
Yeah.
We got to be world champions. And, part of that, obviously, is senior level athletes working with younger, women in the sport. And you're, embracing that by taking a coaching position. How important is that to you to lead these younger wrestlers who are falling in love with the sport?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have a role model for some of these young athletes, just to see the path that truly is there. You know, USA Wrestling has lined this path that says go to Cadet Worlds, go to Junior Worlds, go to university, then you go on to seniors and have this amazing experience. And there's some connecting of the dots that people don't always get to see. And so Helen Maroulis is doing a great job working with the Beat the Streets program in New York City about just being able to get in there and show the girls that there's a mental side to this sport, that there's a physical side, that there's a competitive technique side. I mean, there's all these little pieces from weight management to just dealing with your life and having a balance within sport and your family life and all those things. And I think there's a lot of us that are stepping up and showing and kind of paving some new ways for the younger women and just keeping them inspired and involved in the path that they need to be on.
Leading up to this year's Worlds, Jordan Burroughs came back and he said it was a relief for him not to be the face of USA Wrestling, that Kyle Snyder had taken it over and he could just sort of take a step back and focus on himself. Do you feel anything similar to that? I mean, you were a three-time world champ.
Yeah, it's awesome. Pressure is an honor, and pressure is something that has power, but it's also challenging. It's mentally weighing. It's something that always doesn't bring out the best performances when the stakes get higher. It's great to know that people believe in me and have that motivation going into things, but there is another side to it, that it gets some pressure on yourself, and I think that can turn into just a distraction of pulling yourself away from the wrestling mat sometimes. And it's nice when you don't have those extra interviews and things like that, so you get to just focus on yourself and you get to focus on kind of the steps that you need to take to be the best that you can on the wrestling mat.
Mm-hmm. So what are your goals now? I mean, how much are we going to get to see you compete from here on out?
That's a great question. Terry keeps asking me the same thing. Right now, I'm putting these shoes on. I'm going to wrestle in Schultz coming up next week, and then hopefully the World Cup in Russia. And then I'll be out coaching with Aaron Vandiver at Wyoming Seminary and staying involved with our national team. I'm not on the national team this year, so it's a new experience for me. If you don't wrestle at the World Team Trials, you're not on national team. So it's a far fall from grace, going from being one of the best women in the world to not placing at the Olympics and not being on national team. So it's a new environment. USA Wrestling is still taking care of me, making sure I get to those trips, and New York AC has really stepped up to help me stay afloat. But without that financial base, it becomes challenging to do everything you need to do. So there is a lot of factors that go into being an adult, I guess, and being a professional athlete is hard when you don't have that baseline support, when you don't make your national team.
It seems like there's a real sense of camaraderie with Team USA, and that plays a big part of this. What does Team USA need to do to win the World Championships, to all come together and do it? It seemed like we could have used you in Paris. That would have been a lot more points.
Yeah, it's tough. Japan has such a depth to them, and Japan didn't even bring their best team to the World Championships. And so to have that kind of a performance and that kind of a dominance is really inspiring. Actually, I mean, we've been chasing them for a long time and trying to figure out what they have that we don't, and a lot of it's some of the grassroots programs, which is why events like this are so important. One of the best things about Beat the Streets is that heavyset ethnic girls are the most likely to stick with this sport, and that's my weight class. I need those strong women who can step in and lift weights and fit into these bigger weight classes to provide the depth there. And so that's going to help me, is getting a lot of those true athletes just to stay with the sport and to be competitive and push me to be better. And I think that's what we're going to just need, is some of that depth to really take our world team to the next level.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.